Today is the All-Ireland final for Gaelic football, and the absolute powerhouse of Kerry are battling the underdogs Mayo to determine who is going to lift the Sam Maguire Cup. I've decided that whoever wins is going to determine my next read. I have a few different authors to choose from, and I need your help. Let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Órla from Write with Órla, and today I'm doing a slightly different video. Instead of doing a book review or a writing process video, I'm going to talk about a bit of Irish culture, a bit of Irish history. We're going to talk about the All-Ireland Gaelic football final, why it's so important to Irish culture, and why is this year especially important for me and my family, as well as for all the other people in Ireland who are going to be watching it. And I also thought to make it a little bit more fun, whoever wins, I'm going to pick an author from that county and read what they've written, be it a play or a short story or a novel. But I'm going to leave it up to you to decide who from that county I read. So after the winners are announced today, I'm going to put a poll up on my YouTube channel and you can vote what I'm going to read next based on those options. So for the video, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview about what Gaelic football is, what the All-Ireland final is, why it's significant that Kerry and Mayo are playing each other. And then I'm going to walk you through the 6 books that I've chosen, 3 from Kerry and 3 from Mayo. So to begin with all of it, what is Gaelic football? If you're from Ireland, you obviously know. If you're from Dublin, like I am, you probably refer to it as the GA. Anyone outside of Dublin would call it Gaelic or football. And it's basically a type of football where instead of only using your feet, you use your hands and your feet. You can use your hands to palm the ball, a bit like you would a volleyball. You can bounce the ball every couple of steps, a bit like in basketball. And then you can also do what's called soloing the ball, where as you're running, I think it's every 2 steps, you have to drop the ball and kick it back up into your hands. It's played on a rectangular pitch against 2 teams. There's about 15 people per team, and the goal is to score as many points as possible. There's 2 ways of scoring points. So the goal posts look a bit like American football posts or rugby posts, where you have the crossbar and you have the poles extended above the actual goal at the bottom. If you get the ball in the goal, you get 3 points. And if you get the ball over the crossbar, you get 1 point. And then at the end, it's whoever has the most points wins. It's a very fast-paced game. It's a very aggressive game. People are so passionate about Gaelic football in Ireland. And something about Gaelic football that makes it really, really unique on the global sports stage is that all of our players are amateur. So there's no professional players in Gaelic football. But despite that, they play to a professional standard. So our largest stadium is Croke Park. That's where the finals take place, and that's where all the major matches take place. And I think it holds, correct me if I'm wrong, comments, I think it holds about 50,000 people, so it's quite a large stadium. And all the money that the GAA, which is the organisation that governs the Gaelic football tournament, I suppose, all the money that they get gets invested back into local football and hurling clubs. So hurling is the other national sport of Ireland that comes under the GAA. But they invest all that money back into the local clubs. So you could start playing football or hurling at a really young age, and then you would play for your local team. And then as you get older and as you progress in your skill level, you would move up to eventually being the senior football team or the senior hurling team. And that's it's adult level skill and players. And all of these people, they go to college, they work full time, and they continue to train at the same level that other professional athletes will train at, but they don't get paid anything. It's entirely voluntary, it's entirely amateur, and they just do it for the love of the game and the love of their community and their county. And I think that's what makes Gaelic football really, really special. When you talk to people in Ireland, they all support their county, either the county that they live in or the county that they're from, if they're living in a different county. And they just, it's like some counties, in particular Mayo and Kerry, they eat, sleep, and breathe Gaelic football. There is not a single person who doesn't watch it or doesn't support the team or even just have a passing interest. It is the lifeblood of counties like this. So the fact that Mayo and Kerry are coming up against each other in the final is huge because their fans are so passionate and so invested. You can't help but feel the electricity in the air and feel the buzz in the air. Now, I'm not from either county. As I said, I'm from Dublin and I don't live in either county. I live in Wicklow, but I still have a personal connection to both counties. I lived in Kerry for a while and I worked there for a while when I first finished college. So I have a lot of really fond memories of Kerry. It's an absolutely beautiful county. If you're ever in Ireland in the summer, Kerry is the place to go. There's so much to do and it's just stunning. And the people are lovely, they're friendly and they're welcoming. And then my husband is from Mayo and we spend all of our holidays in Mayo. So I have a huge fondness for Mayo as well. It's where I go when I need peace, when I need rest and recovery. I just absolutely love it. So, personal connections to both counties. I probably lean more towards one county than the other, and you can probably guess which county that is. But I'm going to try and give a fair assessment of both when I come to actually discussing the books that I'm going to read. So, a few statistics and factoids about the counties that might help boost your interest and your excitement in the All Ireland final if you're not as excited as I am already. Um, it's taking place today. So today is the 26th of July. It's a Sunday. And Kerry are the reigning champions. They won last year. They have won 7 out of the last 22 finals that they've been in. And if they win today, this is going to be their 40th overall win. So there's a lot of pressure on the Kerry team, a huge amount of pressure, especially because this is the 5th time Mayo and Kerry have played each other in the final, and Kerry have won all the previous 4 times. So huge amount of pressure on Kerry to win. They are the favourites. It is what everyone expects. But they're not just expecting Kerry to win because they think they're the best team. There's also the Mayo curse. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Mayo curse, the last time Mayo won an All Ireland final was in 1951. And the story goes, depending on who tells it, the team bus arrived home from the match. They're in full celebrations and there's a funeral procession going down the road. And instead of stopping and paying their respects to the funeral, they drove around it so they could continue on with their celebrations. Again, depending on who's telling the story, the local priest was so incensed by what happened, he cursed the team to never win another match until every player on that team had passed away. Some people also say that it was a witch who cast the curse. I don't know, I wasn't there, but I can tell you that Mayo have not won since 1951. They haven't won a single final since then. Now, the last 2 surviving members of the team have passed away. The last full-time player passed away in 2021, and the last sub passed away in 2023. They were both in their 90s. Like, these are hardy books, they live strong. So it's been a couple of years. Mayo haven't won. Let's see what happens. We're keeping everything crossed for them that they break the curse today. Another thing that's interesting about today being the day of the All Ireland final is today is the last Sunday of July, which is also known as Reek Sunday. So Reek Sunday is quite a large occasion in Mayo. It's an annual pilgrimage to a mountain called Crowpatrick, which is about 764 meters high. It's a very shaly, scree-covered mountain. It's quite tricky to climb. You begin at sea level and you make the ascent from there. So the ascent is a full 764 meters. It's done in honor of St. Patrick, and once you summit the mountain, there's usually a mass. There's a little chapel that's at the top of the hill. But what's really interesting about it is traditionally you do it barefoot. So imagine it's scrael, it's rock, it's scree, it's really sharp, jagged pieces. And there's a lot of granite in this area, so it's hard and sharp. And people are doing it barefoot to get to the top, to go to a mass. I mean, like, where else would you get it but the west of Ireland? I mean, let's be real here. There's a few other rituals that they do as sometimes that they do as part of it. For example, the rounding rituals, and that's where you pray while walking sunwise around important features and landforms. So, for example, there's one landform that's like a flat rock, and it's called St. Patrick's Bed, and you'd walk around that 15 times while praying. Um, and up until like 1970, this was done after sunset. So, for context, sunset today is 9:27 p.m. So you're climbing up this sharp, horrible, shaly, rocky mountain barefoot in the dark to go to mass pre-70s. So you would have been doing it by starlight, moonlight, and maybe you'd have a torch with you. So it was pretty dark. I mean, look, if that's your thing, go for it. It could never be me. Like, absolutely, I'll summit Croagh Patrick someday once my leg is healed. But I will not be doing it barefoot. I will be wearing appropriate hiking boots. And I probably won't do it on a Sunday, so I'll unfortunately have to miss Mass. One other interesting thing about it, and then I promise I will get onto the books, is the pilgrimage to the summit of Croagh Patrick actually predates Christianity. So it was originally associated with the Celtic festival of Lunasa, which is the beginning of harvest season. So I just thought that was quite interesting. It was just, another feature of Irish Christian culture that took its roots from paganism. And I'm not going to go into depth about it, but if you do look into it a bit more, you do find like a lot of our customs stem from paganism. But I just thought that was interesting that it originally stemmed from Lunasa, and now we call it Reek Sunday, and it's happening today. And today is also the day of the All Ireland final, and my husband's home county is playing against a county that I used to live, and it's just all very big and all very exciting. So obviously we're going to go and watch the match. Not in the stadium. Tickets are like gold dust, and unless you have a connection, you're not going to get one. So instead, we're just going to our local, and we're going to watch it on the big screen there and just have a little bit of a day out with the kids. So, with all of that intro, I'm like 10 minutes into recording. Let's talk about the books. This isn't going to be as long as my normal videos because it is more of just an introduction to a longer video that I will do possibly next week if I find the time. But yeah, so Kerry and Mayo, both counties that have a rich culture of art, literature, and music. So there was no shortage of writers from either county that I could pick from for my shortlist. I did choose the ones that I thought would be better known, but then also ones that had written stories that actually personally appealed to me so that I'd actually want to read them. So we'll start off with Kerry. The three writers that I've chosen from Kerry are John B. Keane, Peg Sayers, and Maurice Walsh. So you might be familiar with some of those names. I'll start off with John B. Keane. I think his most famous work is probably The Field. It was originally a play that was then adapted into a movie. Sean Bean was in the movie, and I think Richard Harris. So it was quite a huge movie at the time. And it was based on a man called Buck McCabe who had been cultivating this field for the last 5 years, but he didn't own it, he was renting it from someone else. And then the person who owned the field decided to sell it at auction, and Buck McCabe had this sense of ownership over it because he'd been cultivating the land for so long. So he felt he was entitled to it, but then another bidder came in and bought the land because he wanted to take the shale from the river to sell or something. I can't remember all of the details. But the overall theme of The Field is a man or person's right to own land and their sense of ownership over it, and what they will do in order to retain that ownership. And that's a really crucial feeling in Ireland, because historically we have not been the owners of our own land. We've been renting it um, from lords over in the UK and that sort of thing. So, um, really passionate movie, really passionate play. I've seen the movie. I haven't actually read the play, so I thought it'd be interesting to read the play and learn a little bit more about um just learn a bit more about it and give it a good read. John B. Keane is a fantastic playwright, novelist, essayist, excellent writer. So I think there's no such thing as time wasted reading something written by him. The second writer that is on my list, and to be honest, I'm hoping if Kerry wins, she doesn't get picked, is Peg Sayers. If you are Irish, if you spent any time in the Irish education system, you know who Peg Sayers is. So in Ireland, we learn Irish from the time we start school, so about 4 or 5, all the way up until we leave school when we're 17, 18. There are exceptions to that, but for the most part, we've been studying Irish for this whole time. When we get to our final exams, we have to do some reading comprehension, and you have a selection of plays and novels and things, and your teacher will pick which one from the she's going to teach from the curriculum, and you read it, you analyze it, and you write essays on it in the final exams. One of those stories is Peg Sayers, and Peg Sayers is a memoir about her life on the Great Blasket Islands in 19 it came out in the 1930s, so I think it details some of her life during the Great Famine. It's written in the Irish language. It is part of our school curriculum, and it is famous for being sad, depressing, just a tragic read. So I mean, maybe if Mayo win or if Mayo lose, I'll be feeling a bit sad and depressed, and I'll want to drown my sorrows in a depressing memoir by Peg Sayers. So I have it on the list. Partially it's just for the crack, but partially because, I mean, I never read it in school. We did a different play. So maybe I should actually just bite the bullet and finally read Peg Sayers. The final author from Kerry that I actually am quite interested in reading is Morris Walsh. Morris Walsh. The story I've chosen from him is actually a short story called The Quiet Man. So you may know it from the film adaptation, starring our very own Maureen O'Hara. And it follows the story of an Irish American boxer who has made his fame and fortune over in America. He's returned to Ireland, to a small town in Kerry, and he's gotten married, and he's looking forward to just settling down to the quiet life. But there's a financial dispute within the family, and he has to jump in and help his wife. So it is a short story. I think part of me wants to read it because I think it would be a nice quick read. I've been reading a lot of hefty books recently. But also I like the story. I think financial drama in families, particularly in Ireland, I don't know about other countries, but financial disputes post death, like when it's a will, are so common, and it's always really tragic. Like they tear families apart. So I'm really keen to read Morris Walsh's take on it through The Quiet Man. Then we come to Mayo. So the 3 authors I've chosen for Mayo are a little bit more modern than the authors I've chosen for Kerry. We have Sally Rooney, Mike McCormack, and Colin Barrett. So Sally Rooney, I kind of feel doesn't need much introduction. She is the woman of the hour at the moment. She's had several very successful books. I read her story Normal People, which was adapted into a TV series. I didn't love it, mainly because the people that she wrote about were people that I had experienced when I was in university myself. And it was a bit like, oh, I don't want to be reading about these people. They weren't nice to know in real life. They're not nice to read about in a novel. But I've said that if I do end up reading Sally Rooney, I'm going to read her latest novel, which is Intermezzo, which is about 2 brothers, and their father has passed away, and they're struggling to reconnect with each other and move forward after that death. So again, classic Irish story with death and family drama. But yeah, so that's Sally Rooney if Sally Rooney gets selected. The second book is Mike McCormack, and I'm looking at his book Solar Bones, which came out in 2016. Um, Solar Bones is a single sentence style novel, which fascinates me. What does single sentence mean? Is it all written in one sentence? That's what I suspect. I'm hoping there'd be some punctuation, even if there's not a full stop. Sorry, brief interruption, my children. So yeah, a single sentence style novel. Like when I think about that, I'm thinking of the final chapter of Ulysses, where it's like a continuous stream of thought with no punctuation. Yeah, the idea of this fascinates me. The novel is set in rural Mayo on All Souls Day. So All Souls Day is the 1st of November, and it's the day where we traditionally remember those who have passed on. So again, another theme of death in an Irish novel. Can you sense what we like to write about? It's, we love a good death, we love a good funeral. So yeah, that one really appeals to me. It sounds super, super interesting. I mean, that might be one I read even if it doesn't get selected as part of this poll. The final novel is by Colin Barrett, and it's called Wild Horses. It's a gritty small town kidnapping set in the town of Ballina in Mayo. There's a local feud between families, and it takes place over a weekend. I'm leaning towards this one because Ballina is where my family are, that's where they live. And I think it would just be really fun to read a book set somewhere that I know so, so well. And it's a fairly recent book. I think it came out last year, the year before. So they're my options. They're my 6 options. So later on today, I'm going to post. I'm going to say Kerry's the winner, vote below, or Mayo's the winner, vote below. And I might leave that up for a couple of days. And then next week, I'll announce who the winner is, what book I'm going to read, and then I'll do a little in-depth video on it. I might dive into the author themselves a little bit more, as well as talking about the book itself. And yeah, like some of the comments I've been getting back on my video is, people want to know more about Irish culture and Irish history. So I'll try and incorporate that a little bit. It's not, Irish history isn't something that I'm particularly knowledgeable on, but it's a brilliant opportunity to actually learn more and dive in and learn more than what was just in the history books in school. So that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to leave a comment below about who you're supporting. If you're supporting Kerry, maybe leave a yellow heart, and if you're supporting Mayo, leave a red heart. And look, may the best team win. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.